Hey you guys, today we're going to be breaking down the Formechos seen in Kingdom Hearts 3. Formecho is a term I came up with that categorizes the form change copies seen in the game. These include the Frying Pan form change, which copies the Counter Shield, the Honey Blasters and Honey Launcher, which copies the Double Air Guns and Magic Launcher, the Boom Hammer and Clock Drill, which copy the Hyper Hammer and Drill Punch, and finally the Blizzard Claws form change, which copies the Agile Claws form change, though to be honest, I'm not really sure which one is copying which for this one. Since these are just copies of form changes that I've already broken down, I will only be pointing out the unique things. One interesting thing to point out is that the first three Formechos copy the first three Keyblades you get from the worlds. As such, we'll go chronologically starting with the Frying Pan Formecho. This Formecho is triggered by the Grand Chef Keyblade, which you can obtain by getting a 5-star rating for the Bistro. Like I said before, this Formecho copies the Counter Shield form change, but instead of triggering Guardian form like Counter Shield does, Frying Pan triggers Blitz form. The transformation into Frying Pan starts with Sora spinning the Keyblade in front of himself while the Keyblade grows larger. The chef's hat on the top bounces up and then covers the utensils that were holding it up. Utensils circle around Sora as he whips the Keyblade around. The Frying Pan appears, replacing the Keyblade while Sora spins around. The two wine bottles that were on the Keyblade appear on both sides of the pan and pour some of their wine into the pan. Flames appear on the bottom of the pan as pieces of food fly out of it. The flames get bigger and the utensils all flip upside down as Sora brings the pan up in front of himself. The mouse on the Keyblade is shown in an outline and closes in around it. The flames spinning around the pan lock into place, and as Sora brings back the pan, we can see a lid covers the pan and makes up the handle of the shield. The logo shows the words Frying Pan with Remy's whiskers, nose, and hat above it. The whiskers move every couple seconds. A spoon and a frying pan can be seen moving in the background. During the finisher, the blue oval turns red, and the frying pan and spoon move around more. The combo is the same as the Counter Shield combo, though there are fire effects for the Frying Pan Formecho. The combo finisher is the same AoE style of attack, but the animation is different. A ring of fire can be seen forming above Sora as fire circles outwards from the shield. When they hit the ground, a ring of flames comes up around Sora. Magic is also copied and uses the same magic as Sora's base form magic. Movement tech is not changed in this Formecho, so let's move on to the Guarding and Counter ability. Sora can hold his block in this Formecho, similar to Counter Shield. If you successfully block an attack, Sora will be able to unleash a counter attack. The first counter is called Flame Torrent and shoots out a single flame from the shield. The second counter is called Flame Barrage and multiple pillars of fire shoot out to damage enemies. This is similar to the Counter Shield counters, except fists are spawned for those counters. Every time a counter is stored, the flames grow bigger around the frying pan. The idle animation is not changed. The shot lock for Frying Pan has tons of fruit raining down as Sora raises his shield and cuts the fruit. This somehow damages enemies around himself. This copies the Counter Shield shot lock, so maybe they were just trying to think of something that could be similar. During the shot lock, we can see huge flames around the frying pan and two casts of fire circle the shield. The finisher has Sora throwing his pan into the air and transforming it into a giant frying pan. He catches it and brings it behind himself before slamming it down in front. Flames cover the pan as Sora swings it down, and when it hits the ground, flames fly upwards and food appears inside the pan. And that's really all of the unique things for this Formecho. Let's move on to the next one. The next Formechos are the Honey Blasters and Honey Launcher. These are associated with Guardian form and are triggered by the Honey Spout Keyblade. You can get this Keyblade by completing the Winnie the Pooh world found in Twilight Town. Let's look at Honey Blasters first. The transformation into Honey Blasters starts with Sora growing the Keyblade bigger and holding it in front of himself. Honey spouts out of the top of the Keyblade before the pots making up the Keyblade separate and bounce around Sora, spilling honey everywhere. The handles of Sora's blasters kind of just appear in his hands during this transformation. The camera zooms in to show Sora spinning his blasters above his head before bringing them down. A flash of light and honey appear as Sora's blasters change with the top of the Keyblade making up the edges of the blasters. Contrary to the double air guns, these blasters are the exact same. These parts here spin around and shrink into the blasters with two staying on the sides of each blaster. A bee rests on the top of each blaster as well. The logo shows the words Honey Blasters with honey dripping behind it. Every couple seconds the words will bounce and shoot out honey around it. Bees and a honey pot are seen in the background of the logo as well. The combo is the same as the double air guns combo, with the normal combo having different types of attacks in the combo finisher. The attacks are honey dippers with honey on the edge of it. Bees follow behind the arrows as well. The combo finisher seems to be the same honey dippers, but lines of honey trail behind. When an arrow hits, a glob of honey appears. All of the attacks for this Formecho, as well as the Honey Launcher, have a chance to inflict a honey effect. This slows down enemies for a period of time. The magic copies the double arrow gun's magic. The higher the tier, the higher the number of casts shot out of the blasters. So the first tier shoots out 1 cast per blaster, the second tier shoots out 2, and so on. If Sora dodges while in this Formechos, he will shoot out 2 arrows per gun and move in whatever direction you are dodging towards. If you block though, you will use the barrier associated with Guardian form, which is different from double arrow guns. If a block connects, you can counter. This has Sora pushing out the barrier to damage enemies. The idle animation is not changed. This Formechos has a shot lock if you lock onto 1 or 2 enemies. Honey circles around Sora as he shoots arrows down from above the enemy. This Formechos also copies the auto shot mechanic seen in double arrow guns. Let's move on to the Honey launcher. The transformation starts with Sora raising one of his blasters as these honey wing pieces seen here appear around Sora and circle around him. They grow larger before closing in around Sora's raised blaster. They then shrink around the top of the blaster as Sora pushes his other blaster forward. The other one's honey wings grow larger and start to twist around it. Sora pushes the blasters together and a flash of light appears, revealing a spinning honey cog. At the end of the transformation, we can see one of the blasters, the top of the Keyblade, and a honey wing on the back of the launcher. Also during this transformation, Sora dashes forward when he pushes the blasters together. The logo is the same as before except the words Honey Launcher is seen now, and honey spouts out of the pot. During the finisher, flowers and balloons fly up out of the honey on the bottom of the logo. Just like the blasters, Honey Launcher copies practically everything that Magic Launcher does, but adds a honey effect that has a chance of slowing down enemies for a period of time. Like Magic Launcher, Honey Launcher's attacks change depending on your distance from the enemy. If you are close, you will do 2 swipes with your launcher with honey effects on the edge of the attacks, before sliding forward, charging up a ball of honey and blasting enemies away. During the combo finisher, the launcher spins and grows larger. If you are far away, Sora will shoot 2 globs of honey before shooting a pot of honey towards the enemy. Magic and movement tech are the same as Magic Launcher, but because this is Guardian form, you have a guard and counter ability. The idle animation is the same as well as the shot lock, though the shot lock looks slightly different. Sora shoots multiple pots of honey forward, with the honey wings acting like the propellers. It then breaks into honey missiles that home in on targeted enemies. The auto shot mechanic is copied as well. A honey pot is shot out instead of magic orbs. The finisher shows a giant bee of honey coming out of the launcher and flying towards enemies. Globs of honey fly out when it hits. And that is all the unique things I saw in this Formechos. Let's move on to the next one. The next Formechos are the Boom Hammer and Clock Drill. These are associated with Guardian form and are triggered by the classic Tone Keyblade. You can get this Keyblade by completing all the classic Kingdom games. Let's look at Boom Hammer first. The transformation starts with Sora pushing his Keyblade forwards and stretching it out, before breaking it apart, causing gears to appear around Sora. These bounce as Sora catches the horns in the hand on the Keyblade. He then swings his Keyblade into the gears, catching 2 and adding them to the hammer. The logo shows the words Boom Hammer with a clapper behind it and the hammer in the logo. The clapper claps every couple seconds, and the hammer's horn honks. Honestly, there's nothing really different with this one except for the effects. Instead of cracks, gears appear on the ground. These gears spin a bit when the hammer hits the ground. The air combo has 2 gears that appear at the end of the combo finisher. This Formechos also has flow motion similar to Hyper Hammer. Magic and movement tech are the same except for the block and counter because of Guardian form. The idle animation is also the same. Let's move on to Clock Drill. The transformation starts with Sora throwing the top of the hammer forwards, causing it to bounce on the ground. This then changes into a more drill-like weapon and spins around Sora before it comes back onto the handle. The logo shows the words Clock Drill with the same clapper behind it and the drill spinning occasionally. A cog is also on the logo with a Mickey emblem on it. During the finisher, a clock appears with the clock hands and gears stuck. Horns honk on the sides every couple seconds. Again, combos are relatively the same with minor changes such as the effects. The first ground pound in the combo triggers silver gears, and the second ground pound has gold gears appearing. The combo finisher is practically the same, though the hole that Sora creates when he dives under the ground shows the outline of classic Kingdom Sora. This also appears when Sora is dodging during battle. The air combo is not changed. Like Drill Punch, if you are surrounded by enemies, you will trigger another combo finisher on the ground. This one has drills shooting out of the ground with either gold or silver cogs on the bottom of the drills. Like the Boom Hammer and Honey Formechos, the magic and movement tech are the same except for the guard and counter mechanic associated with guard form. Also, the ground dodge is changed a tiny bit, like I said before. The idle animation is the same as Drill Punch, and the shot lock does the same kind of attack, though the way Sora teleports is different. Sora creates portals that are similar to the portals seen in Timeless River and Kingdom Hearts 2. The area also changes to black and white during this shot lock, and you can see outlines of classic Kingdom Sora in the portals. The only other thing I noticed was that Sora changes to his Timeless River model during this attack. The finisher has Sora jumping upwards as a clock spawns on the ground and the hands move to 10 o'clock. His drill slots into the middle of the clock and spins the clock hands back to 110. Enemies close enough have this clock effect that appears on them. After the attack, the black and white screen slowly changes back to normal. And I think that is it for the Formechos. I already did a breakdown of Blizzard Claws, so you can click the I card in the top corner or click the end card to go to that video. I'm sorry if this felt a little pointless. I probably should have added these on to the actual breakdowns of the original form changes, but I didn't really think of it at the time. But I hope this was interesting, and I hope it wasn't too boring or too pointless. Anyways, I'm going to start working on the Ultimate Form breakdown, but I believe it is going to take me longer than a week to finish it. I plan to take a week off and then come back the following week. I'm really excited for the Ultimate Form breakdown. I think there's a lot there. Anyways, enough rambling. Click the cards on screen to see the original form changes broken down. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.